Well, people of God, God bless you, and what a joy to welcome you today on this Life Questions production. My name is Reverend Samuel Onamdi, and I'm your host in the Life Question production. All right, for some very important reasons, we moved this broadcast, which is supposed to be tomorrow, we moved it back today. But believe me when I say, when you hear my guest, you will love her. This is a lady you love. This is a lady that is full of wisdom, a lady that is full of insight, especially as it pertains to issues concerning men. I'm like, okay, Lord, how is it that you gave a woman a revelation about men? Well, when you hear her, you understand why God had to do it that way. But she's been my sister for many years. She's a woman that I love, a woman that God brought into my life as a friend, as a sister. And ever since I got to know her, it's been an amazing, amazing friendship. This is a woman that fears the Lord, and this is a woman that you need to know and listen to. Let me get her into the show as we kickstart this amazing program. Well, here she is, my
Hi.
sister and my friend. Can you hear me,
Um,
woman again?
yes, I can. Good evening from Nigeria, everyone.
Awesome. I was just talking about, how that we got to know ourselves, and ever since
Yeah,
then, it has been friendship that has, added so much value to my life, and it's amazing the
Aw,
lady that you are, the kind of woman that you are. We want to get to know you. Okay, I know you personally, and I'm glad that I know you personally, but we want to get to know you. People want to find out who is this lady that Pastor Ike is talking about like this. Who is she? What is she doing? What has she done? What do we need to
yeah.
know about her? So please, over to you.
Thank you so much, Reverend Samuel. The thing is, I've just been blushing, hearing you introduce me. I'm like, oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. You part, House of the Rock, everything. Thank you for thinking I make sense and all that. I am so excited to be here. And
Hmm.
I am so excited too because I mean streaming from across the Atlantic, from across
Yes.
different continents is amazing.
Yes.
Despite okay, so my name is Chisom. Yes, I know I'm getting used to that name myself. I am
Hmm.
a blogger. I run the blogger academy called the Login Bloggers Africa, and I've done that for
Wow.
7 years. And as a blogger, I got a passion, or I reactivated a passion that has been lying fallow within me from when I was a teenager, which is that a lot of men are lonely in a crowd, and God impressed it on my heart to begin to speak up for men and then speak to and encourage and support men so that they can be called to be, especially in the family front. Because if man is the head of the family, which he is, and trust me, that's the only domain where he's rightfully a leader, right? Every other domain, a man can share it or rather can compete for it with with women. But for the home front, he's the leader. And if he has to be the leader, then and nobody was born with husband or father skills. So if you don't teach him, if we don't the Bible from societal and help him on the lies around family from society and all of those things, he may not be able to thrive. He may not be able to be the best, in fulfilling his purpose as a father and as a husband. So that's why I began what we call the Ready to Choose a Wife Academy. And so I'm popularly known as a men's rights advocate and a premarital coach for men. And of course, I also coach women, especially when it has to do with handling their men or understanding the men in their lives. So that's me in professional brief. Yeah.
Okay. It's nice to get to meet you, and I love the fact that you gave us like the foundation, the history, how you came about, and I think it's a divine mandate. It's actually a calling. It's
Yeah,
actually
it
a
is.
calling, all right? But one
It is.
question that baffles me personally, and I want you to clear that, okay? Should a woman talk to men about men? Why is it that,
Absolutely.
the revelation about we guys is now been given to a lady? All right. So, should a woman talk to us about who we are? Or let me put it the other way. Is it possible for a woman to understand us for real? Do you understand, who we are as men?
I like that question because I get it all the time. The
Mm-hmm.
first time I had a hangout that was purely men, I had 48 men, and it was in 2012. And after a few, I was just the facilitator per se, and they had to support themselves, come up with issues, treat it themselves, and I was just playing the subtle umpire on that group. After a while, after a few months, told them I was going to shut down the group and all that, and they were so pained. Was this mindset, that, oh my God, I'm just a girl, single at the time, so what am I exactly going to do with this vision? I shut it down, but God had to give me several knocks, like, excuse me, there is a reason why I put the empathy and the passion in your heart, and not your neighbor's heart, and not your brother's heart. And if you don't rise, men will continue to suffer. So even if I'm called to just one man, the impact that that man is going to make at the home front is massive, right? So I decided to finally own up, and I had to go through several. I had to go get certifications, all of those things. Sometimes we think we need all of that before we step out, but of course it helped the confidence, and I started. And I want to say that in my knowledge of God, God is not boring. God likes, he's the master on himself, right? So I know that God is a variety God, and in most of the things I have seen about life, God created the lion and created the lamb. God created everybody on earth. And you know that everybody, we don't all act alike or believe things alike. Some of us that he even created don't even believe in him. And for him, he's fine too. He's fine. So he's that kind of God. So when something is to happen, remember in the Bible, he said, if you don't worship me, I will raise stones. So why will a woman be ready and God will not go and raise stones to knock men out of their adversity? It's not possible. So that's the way I see it, right? So it's something that I have grown into as well. It's a calling that took me time to embrace, remarkably so. Growing up from a society where it looks like, a woman, the kind of business you should do is to sell women hair, sell babies, sell, all of those things. And for me, that's really limiting, And if a woman is listening to this podcast, and your heart is channeled towards things that people call men professions or stuff, get off that board. Because I tell people, when you get to the pearly gate, the things you think God will use to judge may not be, because God is not anybody's mate, might not be what he will use to judge. He might just be like, I gave you such a strong passion. There was a reason I found you worthy to carry it, but you were limited by what people would say and what the world is saying. And I sent you out to be bold as a lion, and you went there and you are cowering. That might just be the reason why you might be giving the left hand to the destination we don't want to go. So for me, that's what keeps me going. Like, there's a reason this passion has remained. Even when I run from it, it's remained there. And while I was still running away, nobody rose. I never saw anybody rise to take this position. So both men and women, So I told myself, so why not start? And thanks to our mutual mentor, Pastor Edwin Bayobo, he was actually the first man who spoke about the men in the endangered species. And
Mm.
I said, somebody has this rema. I'm going to run with it. I was the one that personally went to him and said, sir, what you're saying is a revelation I've had as a child, and I didn't know how to start it.
Wow.
And in fact,
I'm gonna, we're
like,
gonna get into this discussion, woman of God. Can you hear me?
yes, I can.
We're gonna get into. I love two things that you said that just came across to me very well. Number one, the fact that you didn't just pick up this. It's not as if, oh, okay, what do I do now to be relevant? You are not looking for what to do to be relevant. This has
At
been
all.
a lifelong passion that God
Yeah.
locked inside of your heart, and it began to manifest at the appropriate time. So people need to
Exactly.
understand that this is how to be relevant in life, when you can align yourself with that divine mandate, that divine passion.
Absolutely.
And the second thing
Absolutely.
you said is that you went and get certification. A lot of people ignore that aspect. Oh, okay, well, I have passion. But yes, there's a part of schooling, in that your passion. There's a part of certification. With all of your
Exactly.
passion, there are places you cannot enter. There are places
True.
you cannot, minister, or should I use the word administer your passion without necessary qualifications, without having some
Exactly.
certification. So when you say that, I'm like, oh my God, this is sounding so good. And you made reference to Daddy Edwin Bayebo. Yes. I
Yeah.
mean, he has preached that message many times. He has talked about how men are, in fact, let's get to it. When we talk about men being an endangered species, how do you understand that? What does that mean? And how can we help everybody listening to us understand that truly men are really endangered species? How do you speak to that?
Okay, great. Men being endangered species, in my understanding, the way I interpret it in my mission, in what I currently do, is that um, there is an agenda. There is an to box people into gender roles. I mean, it's been there before we were born. We met it like that. So those are things that colored some of the belief systems. Things like, oh, this is what a woman should do and shouldn't do, and this is what a man should do and shouldn't do, right? So that's on one side. The ideology behind it, I feel, is an agenda, and trust me, I feel it's an agenda from hell. To box people into who they are not, or to try to specify that because you're male, for instance, that means you are born empowered with wisdom, knowledge, understanding, money, skills, understand how to provide, and all of those things. For me, it brings to question, how do you assume that? How do you assume that without giving a person opportunity to learn the necessary skills to be all that? Now, the other one is the fact that a woman is a victim, is helpless, like a woman told me some days ago, that women are the ones helpless. And then you turn around and also in the same vein tell us that the man is the head of the home. He's supposed to, all of a sudden, a boy, sometimes boys are raised, almost all the time, boys are raised differently from girls. Girls are prepared as it were, most times, to get married. Then the boys are not raised to even take care of a home. But at adulthood, all of a sudden, they are expected to become a certain kind of responsible men, even when they were not raised that way. And it's always geared towards the ability to provide. So does he have a car? Does he have a this? And men are now cut into sizes according to who is a real man and who is not. And that is putting him, into a box, making it seem like men have a different economy. Men have a different, they are not human. There are some sort of human beings who are superhuman, who have everything already done for them. So they shouldn't complain. They should always be strong. They should always accept that they can do anything and get away with it, for instance. And that situation has put a lot of men in what I call learned helplessness, where they just accept their fate, like, well, our own is to provide, I'll keep striving to show that at least I deserve to be respected and loved by working hard to bring something, acquire things. So their worth is dependent on acquiring things and what they have. They are not okay being just human. And that
Hmm.
thing also gave us a lie that men and women are different. Apart from biology, for instance, I don't subscribe to the fact that men and women are different. We are both humans. We have the same emotions. We have the same feelings. In fact, men are said to even be more emotional, but women are much more expressional about the emotion. but men are lied to like, oh, you're supposed to. So men are the gender who is supposed to take everything thrown at them and not complain. Now that has raised monsters, people hardened, some so weak that they can't even stand up to an average woman, for instance, or their mates. So they become OES members. They flow with the crowd. Everything just goes, and and it has left a lot of men depressed. And again, when a man is depressed, society doesn't really care. I mean, why should he be depressed? You should snap out of it already and go make money. But when a woman is, or is suicidal, or even health issues, that's when society rallies around. Oh, let's help them. Let's help the woman. So we have, interestingly, we have more empathy, thrown at us. And of course, our emotions we develop earlier. So we like the dolls at girls. We like, so a certain kind of play which men are also raised to not do. So when a boy says, "Oh, I want that doll," we bring our adult idea to a child to say, "No, do you want to be a girl?" So we keep him away from learning to nurture and express his natural humanity. But in adulthood, for instance, he's expected to nurture a woman, nurture children, and then when he begins to struggle because he didn't develop it on time, we nail him. So society put a man where they are always being judged. So a man is always looking back and looking around, trying his best not to be ridiculed, not to be embarrassed, and not to be, put down. And then he's turned around to be told that it's a men's world. So he doesn't understand the meaning of that. So he's wondering, men's world, what does it really mean? Because at every corner, I am running away from ridicule. I'm trying to assert myself. I'm trying to say, oh, I'm here too. I'm also human, even though nobody wants to hear me. And the gender that is made to look like they are victims gets things easily. As a woman, if you, for instance, say, oh, there's this place or there's this contract or this thing, the man there is very tough. He doesn't do it. A woman can almost bet that I'm going to get there and get it. And no, it's not what you're thinking. She doesn't need to do anything obscene or all that to get it. Just even keeping my neck in a way that looks like I need to be, I really need this. A woman can get stuff. And a man with commensurate qualification or even more will work hard, even give his skill for free, and may not be given that job or may not be given anything. So I'm just saying a lot of things in one to say that men have been sold the idea that, oh, you have everything, you can do anything and get away from it. That has weakened men. When you think that your empowerment comes from being able to get away with anything, especially vices, that's weakening them. So some men take vices to deaden the fact that they can't find expression for their emotions. They can't say, I am human too, I deserve to be loved and be heard. They can't even say, I was abused or I'm being bullied without being laughed at. So they talk on voice and vices, and then we turn around to say, oh, they are just like that. We just treat men with a level of inhumanity that really gets at me. I don't know where the empathy came from, but I think that if anything I said made sense, I think that an average man needs to snap out fast from, first of all, understanding that he has to love himself. A lot of men do not love themselves. If you don't love yourself, you can't love a woman, because I'm very passionate about the family front. If you don't love yourself enough, a lot of men, for instance, who are, maybe they have multiple women in their life, for instance, sexually, they don't love themselves. If you love yourself, you will practically take every woman. If you must do it, you must practically take them to the hospital to check, first of all, whether they are healthy. But most don't even bother. So that means they disconnect, because men have been used to disconnecting their emotions from their real self. So you are with a woman, but your love is locked up somewhere because you can't trust anybody with your vulnerability. So you keep it somewhere. That's why you hear things like, I really love my wife, I don't want to lose her. But the man is sleeping with XYZ, even maids. So there's a disconnection from his soul and his body and his flesh. And that's how most men walk around, almost like, like robots, like moving corpses. And I am sent to help them wake up and come back to become congruent, to find expression of who they are, to know that how you feel matter is valid. If you feel down, it's okay too. If you feel confused, it's okay too. If you don't know what to do at a particular time, it's fine. So that's what I am about. And that's how I will see men in danger species. Men are not just allowed to be human. They are made to feel like you must show working, like you must show that you have before you can even be put on the table. For instance, if a man doesn't have a university education or was not privileged to have loving parents or doesn't know or doesn't have money, that's number one thing.
Mm.
He's not even placed as a man. Both his mates and women run him down all the time. But if the woman is in the same position, just give her a husband and she has a bundle of children. She's still respected as madam. It doesn't matter that she's a blockhead, and it doesn't even matter that she can't even think and bring anything to the table. So that for me is a disparity that we need to work on, and especially in the Christian fold, where also we have made it even more obvious with all of this prosperity gospel and all of those things. I don't want to get there. Men are further away. So you keep chasing things till you die. And when a man dies too, it looks like it's okay. Of course, if you want a woman to die, then it's okay. So life moves on very fast, like, they're supposed to die. So the average man is just waiting to die because anytime he gets to a point where he just like, I'm tired of this working hard to just prove myself a man, and because go out to try to work to just please a woman somewhere. Sometimes when they get to the point where they are just done with that passion or that, they just become docile and get to that point where I call learn helplessness. And then we crucify them. We now use loosely as all of us, women and men, other men, who will not ask the question, how did he get there? What made him to become the husband that doesn't want to work? What made him to become the man who never smiles? What made him to become the man who is raping children? What made him to become, what is he revenging to society about? We don't ask the question, we just crucify him finally. And then when he dies, the world moves on. And then we keep providing unrelevant succor for the men who have become victims of such men without dealing with the source, which is this man. If the man is, for instance, abusing a woman or women, can you ask what is wrong with him? Can you provide him mental health? Can you mental help? Can you provide him
Just
therapy? Yeah,
let me come in, but because Holy Spirit, let me just come in
I
because
know. I can be intense
I'm
like that.
telling you,
Forgive me.
you just loaded me. I asked one question and you just brought out all the double barrel. Boom, boom, boom. I'm like, okay, which one do I pick on? But I did not miss any of them. But of particular interest was what you said, that men are actually emotional, just that women are more expressional. I'm like, okay,
Absolutely.
I'm like, okay, hold on now, because this is the gospel truth. Men are emotional while
Of course.
women are expressional. Now, um, when we look at men as being endangered species, honestly, I have not done the research, but I believe if I do a research right now, I will find out that the population of women in the world is more than that of men. I will find that out. That it's
Yeah,
likely,
he
it's
generally
possible.
believes, but yeah, it's
Can you say
possible,
that
but
again?
no, I saw a research recently. That one was for
Uh
Nigeria, and the research
huh.
said it's the other way around actually. That men are more than women. So
Oh,
everybody's like,
really?
are they sure or not sure? Yeah, for Nigeria. So I don't know, but I kind of, if that is true, I think I kind of buy it because we don't always think of men in the circle of things. A lot of boys and men, as we speak in Nigeria, are under the bridges, homeless, in places that we don't count them. So we focus on the men who are doing well. And then, then we
Oh,
look at the several women in churches and schools. Of course, more women are in schools, more girls are in schools than boys. So we just look at that and then conclude that there are more women. So the research recently showed that men are more in Nigeria. People fought against that research, but I mean we can't be sure. But I'm just saying from
I
my
like
end,
that.
if that's true,
No, okay,
I believe it.
I like the fact that you said that. I really like the fact that you said that because I mean, I was even talking globally. I'm basing my suspicion. That's why I said I have not done a research on this. So I was basing my suspicion on what is out there. A lot of men have been killed during conflict,
Yeah.
during riots, during war. a lot of men have been
Our
killed
prisons are
by.
overflowing with men. Prisons,
Say
men
that
are
again.
trapped there. In prisons, men are trapped in prisons all over the
Wow.
world.
Wow. So
Yeah.
all over, most news that we get about death, it always has men in higher, higher numbers than women, right? And in
Yeah.
fact, one time I was reasoning this out, and I want to throw it out to you, Chisom, how right or wrong am I? One time I was reasoning this out to myself, and I said to myself, even from conception, even from conception, that men die before the women. And this is what I mean.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
chromosome that produces the male
Yeah.
child gets to die
That produce milk.
before.
Yeah.
So
That is
question
not
I
fact.
want you to answer is, why is it that women live longer than men? And I'm gonna come to the second side of that question, but I want you to speak to why women live longer than men.
Well, I'm not a scientist, so I can't tell why that is predominant. Why it looks like there are more old women than old men. But psychologically, I think that a lot of more men are on mental pressure all through. When they are boys, they are either feeling left out, over pampered, mixed identity, trying to find themselves without mentors or parents to guide them like like girls have. At adulthood, they're out there now telling themselves, "What? Nobody's gonna look at me if I don't have money." So they get into all sorts of things. So I think, and then that all sorts of things get them into taking risk. So they are, when you see an accident, most of them are men, both driving and all that. When you hear a man and somebody fell from a tall building, it's probably a man. When you hear somebody committed suicide, 50-50 or more than that is going to be a man. So I think that, and of course, there are illnesses that are common to men. In fact, we think that is normal. So because of those mental pressure and things that men bottle in there, because they can't express the emotion, we tell them that they can't cry, they can't do that, they have to be strong for everyone. And what I know from from neuro-linguistic patterning, you can't grieve, for instance, you can't stifle emotions. So if you can't stifle emotions, it is said in behavioral science that emotions must find their way out of you, either physiologically through your body and all that. So naturally, it's normal to see men have more of that. The more men have cardiac arrest, he slept, he didn't wake up, stroke, all those things. So I think that because of that, it's what it is. But whether that is founded on biology and on genes and all that, I can't tell. But I'm talking about the psychology, which is where I am an expert at. So, and
I
well, with
want
my mission,
us.
I'm out to make sure that more men live longer, and then we don't celebrate widowhood like it's something very that is normal. Yeah, we can have our
I
men stay
want us to
along
talk about.
longer.
I want us to talk about parenting, especially
Okay.
as it has to do with the male child. So,
Yeah.
what wisdom would you have to share with parents when it comes to raising their male child? Because you know how we are all raised, those of us that are guys. Oh, if you want to cry, you're a man, you don't need to cry. And this is how most of us grew up,
Yeah.
bottling down our tears. Sometimes, my wife will be crying over some things, and I'm like, oh, I wish I can cry. I would tell her, I say, you don't know the blessing. I would tell her, I say, you don't know how much of a blessing it is for you
Yeah.
to cry, because once you do that through your tears, a lot of emotions are just leaving you. And this to me, my father is late, Chisom. If I'm to take
No.
the census, a lot of people, their mother is still there, their father is dead. It
True.
just
Very true.
seems there's something killing us men. There's something
Mm.
out there that is killing all of us. So the mothers are still living, the fathers are dead. My father is
Yeah.
dead, my mother is alive. My wife's father is dead, her mother is alive. And I said to
Wow.
her, I said, you don't know how much of a blessing it is for you to let those tears go. I wish I can just, because
Yeah.
sometimes it bottles up in my inside, and I
Yeah.
just wish I
Yeah.
can just let me just cry, so that
Yeah.
let this thing leave me on the inside. Let me be free and light, right? So, and one of
Yeah.
the reasons we grew up developing that inability to, using your word, express our emotion is because of how we were raised. So,
Yeah.
what
Absolutely.
is the best approach to raising a male child?
Thank you for that question. First of all, let me say that you can practice crying. Pastor Namdi, please practice crying. When you feel like
Oh,
crying,
really?
find a place that is cold. Find a place that is, away from people if you can, if you must, and just cry. See, just as an aside, there's a level of expression or of love you may not have gotten from your wife because you've not been able to cry. See, a man who is vulnerable is much more, attracts love even much more.
Hmm.
Trust me. Trust me. Okay, so that's just for you. Okay, back to the question. So back to the question. First of all, I would say it's a very tough topic, trying to say, oh, what do you tell parents about raising the boy child? Because number one will be that we need a lot of parenting education. Parents themselves need to be educated about unlearning the dysfunctional parenting they underwent themselves as children. Because it is what parents know that they impact in their children. We only act according to what we know. If parents know better, they will do better. So that said, first of all, parents generally has to be humble and has to, even as a matter of urgency, seek out parenting courses, parenting coaches, and learn a thing or two more added to their experience, and especially on how to handle the boy children. Now, if you look at a father who is a parent who grew up, like you explained, who grew up being asked to man up, not cry, all that, it will be hard for him as a parent to not say the same to his child, right? So boys in general suffer from what I call the "what about me" syndrome. I see that, everywhere. I see that with sons, everywhere, because we usually just feel that they are boys, so they are stronger, they should know what to do, or they can figure things out. And it's not absolutely the same. The same way we handle girls, and even much more, we should handle boys as well. We should listen to them. We should tell them what to do. We shouldn't assume that they should be able to get it. We shouldn't be quick to punish or to snap back at them like, why are you doing this? And then we use the words like, why are you behaving like a girl? Why are you, all of those things. It kills the psyche, of boys. I was in a parenting summit where I was speaking to, interestingly, to this parenting summit, but there was only one father there. That's another thing. Many fathers don't see themselves as parents, or in fact, don't see the need to learn generally. Now, that's why it's going to be tough raising the boy child, because trust me, boys learn more. I mean, not like every child, but boys in particular learn more by role modeling and from their fathers. There's just so much a mother can do. Now, I was in that parenting summit where there was just one father and over 20 mothers. And somebody brought up the issue that his son usually asked him for dolls. That was why I used the analogy before. That she wanted a doll to play with and comb the hair. The mother snapped at him. It's not under my roof that you're going to be gay. This and that. Started, you know, presenting what the child does not even know. Started mentioning the likes of Bobrisky. You want to be this and that. And of course, didn't buy the doll. And the child will go ahead and keep wondering whether something is wrong with him, because the father or the parent had already sold him an idea that, oh, something is wrong with wanting a doll, for instance. So if parents don't has kept us ourselves, our generation backward, if we don't understand that we are raising children who are digital natives, these children didn't come, for instance, and then after a while they met the internet, for instance. They came, in fact, when they were in the tummy, they were already digitized. If we don't understand it, we will keep using our analog ways and all our, you know, all our Generation Z as lifestyle to try to parent them. So, and the boy children are very peculiar because at an early age they begin to hear those things. Don't cry. Why are you behaving like a girl? And we always set them up with girls like, oh, something is wrong with you if a girl talks to you and you don't talk back, if a girl beats you and you don't beat her back, if a girl even comes first in your class and you are second, we snare at them like you're there and it's a girl that came first. All of those things is where we start causing the dysfunction that they are struggling with. And boys, more than ever before, will always go out and meet other boys who are also feeling alone, feeling like, oh, we are allowed to experiment, we are allowed to, to just figure things out. Nobody wants to answer our question. When you ask a question, they tell you, you should know what to do. We just have that thing. And then we have what we call, the what they call that now. It's called the boys' code. Boys are growing up, they begin to believe that there's a certain thing you shouldn't do so that you don't hurt your peers. So there are things like don't be too close, to even your guy friends. You should be able to man up and do things by yourself. I had men tell me that. I was shocked. And in my first research, before I started this fully officially in 2016, I did a research and I said, how far do you go with being vulnerable with your fellow guys? Like if you have a guy who is like your best friend, what is the closest thing, that you have ever told him? Most of them said it's only when I'm broke. I manage, if he's too homey, that's when I can say, guy, find me something, help your brother. But things that are really intimate, things that they really need help with, they don't discuss it. So men don't open up to both themselves and the women in their lives or anybody at all. So, that thing comes from from childhood where you're made to feel like you need to sort out yourself by yourself. So if you're going to parent boys better, we must listen to them. We must, as a matter of fact, reaffirm who they are. Tell them you are my prince and mean it. Use the right words when communicating with them. Let them understand that people are going to pressure you into things, into early alcohol, into girls and all of those things. And it is fine for you to say, this is where I stand on this and I'm not going to do this. So boys, more than ever before, need attention, need our attention. That's what I would say, in general. But, if you... Hello?
Yes, perfectly with you. Boys, more than ever before, need our attention in parenting. And this, what you're saying, and I'm gonna get to your book. I want you to share out of your book because your passion has moved from being just a passion to being a documentation. You've actually documented, this your passion in a book. All right. So we want to hear some of the wisdoms you put in that book. But back to what you said, most of us men, we are trained to suppress our emotion. And we are right here in this video telling you that that is the wrong form of training.
Yeah.
So that, and we know it's not easy because let me confess to you, I have a male child and I want him to be strong. So most times, wanting our guys, our male children to be strong, we don't even know when we get so hard on them. Okay, and I have seen myself. This is a true confession. I've seen myself, him wanting to cry. I say, "Hey, wipe those tears." And here am I, complaining that I don't cry, and having you advise me to, okay, Pastor Ike, sometimes go somewhere, lock yourself up, and practice crying.
Yeah.
That's the first time I heard that word. I didn't know anything like practice. I don't know anything like practice crying. So it's amazing the things you have shared with us. I think the title of your book is
The Men Code.
The Men
Code. Yeah. Self-empowering affirmation for living without regret.
Yes. What are you talking about in that book? And how can we even get to access this book? People watching and like, okay, how do we get this book? So share with us what you were talking about in the book and tell us how we can, get this book.
Okay, great. Okay, first of all, let me give a brief on wanting our boys to be strong. I think I left that point. So what you said just reminded me. Um, our definition of strong is what I want to clarify. You know, a boy isn't strong if he if he um, if he bottles his emotion. In fact, bottling or denying how you feel is already a weakness, and that's what we have sold wrongly. So you feel angry. Somebody had just done something to you. And instead of you to say, oh no, I don't like this and I wouldn't want it to repeat itself, I really wouldn't want to be your friend. Let me talk in the language of children. I want to be your friend again if you do this. We let them instead smile and take it in and bottle it up. That means the second child, the child in the second scenario is not strong. He is weak because he will be self-damaging himself. He'll be feeling self-pity, right? So, and he continued that into into adulthood. He doesn't know who he is anymore. He just knows that I'm just alive, Sha. So the definition of strength is what we need to redefine. So vulnerability, for you to be open to one to another, the way the Bible said, confess your faults one to another. The Bible said it is the epitome of strength. And doing that without caring whether the person will run you down or not is resilience. That's strength. That's real strength. Not being able to do that is weakness. You hear men say things like, oh no, that secret is going to go with me to the grave. Nothing is actually really hidden under the sun. So it's weakness to think a certain way, to get to a point where you can't say, this is what I believe. And that's why most men get into marriage not having a vision or a mission for the marriage. They don't even know the kind of home they want to build. But you're taking somebody's daughter into the home with no roadmap, no discussion, no openness, not, okay, this is who I am. You're pretending that then when you get into the marriage, their real self shows and it looks like they're kata kata. All those are the consequences of this strength that we try to build. It's actually weakness, So that's one thing that we need to also look at. Strength is in maximizing who you are as a person. And everybody can be who they are. Everybody can attract their tribe, people who think the same way with them. It doesn't matter. And I tell people, be who you are. God will know how to deal with you. God understands all his children. But wearing a mask, there are so many people who are a certain way in the public offices where they work. People know them for a certain thing. But in the religious circle, they are known in a certain way. That those people are weak people, very weak people. So I wanted to address that. That's the ideology that I have. So about my book, the title of my book is The Men Code, Self-Empowering Affirmations for Living Without Regret. Now, the book is a 50-page ebook. It's something you can read in an hour and run with it. Let me share with you a bit of the testimonials that come from that book. I just like to, it's very humbling to hear. A CEO of a company who read it, he's about 44 years old, and he said all his life, all 44 years, he has lived his life always trying to please people and usually get hurt. Just imagine somebody says, oh, come by our house tomorrow for dinner. Then you go today, use your last card and buy a big shirt because you feel that they will appreciate you better when you dress a certain way, make your hair, do that, cut your hair, buy a perfume, all of that to look good. Then buy them a gift, only to get to their house and the gate man says, oh, you can't get in with that gift. They say, please, I bought it for. They say, no, we don't need it. We don't accept gifts. Please drop it at the door, at the gate as you enter. Just imagine how you feel. Your last card. Then you get to the table. They say, oh, you're overdressed. We actually just need that and all that. So at the end of the day, you come back feeling, where did I put in the pain? He said that was his life for 44 years, always trying to please people and always getting disappointed that they don't really even appreciate the whole hard work he had to put in, trying to impress them. And he said the book set him free. It was deliverance for him that he had to live, that he said in particular with girls, because he's still single. He said, particularly with girls and relationships, he has found himself always trying to, a lot of such men put even women at a pedestal. So you do everything for a girl, use your last card to make her happy. Then you yourself, you don't even have shirt and trousers. You don't pamper yourself, but when is a woman, you give her all. So that one, One day, also, okay, they are mostly CEOs. Said the first time he read it, he had such a surge of energy that he told himself that he can't be depressed anymore. He had to run for, in life, and that he had to make a copy of it and paste in his office wall. And there are so many. So what I spoke about in that book was to bring out 12 codes, 12 different affirmations that talked about men in general, their ability to connect to their maker, which is the first identity crisis that they have to deal with. Most men may not have a father figure, or may have a father who is absent, or have a father who is even there, but they don't have friendship with their father. So they can only latch on to the fact that they have a heavenly father and cultivate a relationship with him fast. If not, the identity crisis will always show how they relate to themselves and the women that they get married to. So the code one addressed that, and then there are aspects that spoke about your connection to people, knowing what you are called to do. I used to make a joke that a woman can get away from not knowing the purpose for her life. Then when she gets married, she can follow the purpose of the husband. It's a joke, but it's not true. I mean, all of us are equal, right? But imagine a man not having a purpose for it and not knowing why he's here. It's usually disastrous. So you can choose the wrong career because you don't even know what you're supposed to do. You can just go on a job that you don't need, take risks that are not unnecessary. So for a man, I think the man should find his purpose early. So one of the codes addressed that. One of the codes also addressed that if you must marry, marriage is not compulsory. If you must marry, right, you must be sure that you are equipped to get there, and that you understand that you're an ancestor, that who you are, what you're saying is that you want to multiply your legacy down the generation. So you must live accordingly, and you must raise a family consciously with the principles that you believe. Forget about what other people are doing, and the aspect that address health. Most men never take themselves to the hospital. They don't think they are even worth anything. They think hospital is for women. Take yourself, it's self-love, take yourself out and nip in the bud some sicknesses that might arise early. The affirmations, there are 12 of them, so I won't want to read them word for word. That addresses all those things, including the fact that you should constantly be learning. And know that no matter how much in your pocket, that money is not your worth. You're 100% a man, no matter what life brings your way. So those are some of the things that I mentioned in the quotes. And of course, there are case studies. Each of the quotes have case studies, backing them up. Very easy. And of course, the book is available. It's my first book in 2018, and it's available on its own website, themancode.xyz, not .com, themancode.xyz. That's where the book can be found. And it's easy download right now. You just go there, pay. It's about $5. Pay, and you download it straight into your device. In 1 hour, that book will give you an energy that's to the glory of God. Is amazing. Can you hear
did you
me?
say .xyz?
Yes, themancode.xyz.
I hope I got it right. I just typed it there for people. I hope I got it right. I just left it there for people.
No, XYZ. You wrote XZY. XYZ.
I'm gonna take that out. I'm gonna take that out. But man, it's been a blessing. Let me.
They can also get it on my website, on my personal website, www.jennychisom.com. You can also get it there.
Okay.
Yeah.
The main code .n. Did you say N?
XYZ.
XY what?
Z.
And then
that's
www.
That's the same extension. That's the same extension that Google uses. So I love it. The mother company of Google is ABC. So the name of their website is abc.xyz.
So now, did I get it right now? Yes?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay.
I can see it on the screen.
And people can quickly download it. This is an ebook, am I correct?
Yes, it is.
You've really been a blessing. So, I mean, I was touched by that testimony, the 44-year-old guy. And it will amaze you how that is the testimony of, I really might say, up to 70, if not more percent of men. So
Abi?
if your book can bring, this liberation to him, I really imagine what it can do to people. So I want to encourage you, if you are a man out there, in fact, if you are a lady and you have a man that you are in love with and you want to enjoy your relationship with the guy, because look at what she said. If men understand who they are able to be in a better relationship. Okay?
Yeah.
Our identity crisis is the reason why most of us are not even, or should I say, most men are not even giving out their best in relationships. So if you know who you are, who God has made you, who you are in God, who you are as a man, and you have all your different aspects together, your spiritual aspect is together, your emotional aspect is together, expressing that emotional aspect. I have learned something today, practicing how to cry. This is the first time I've never heard that before. So guess what? I'm gonna book a section in the studio and practice how to and practice how to cry. But believe me, guys, believe me, if we can find a way to let some of these emotions out, women, they are blessed by God to be able to let their emotions out. When you call it ranting, when you call it nagging, you're your own. As long as they're concerned, something is leaving them.
Yeah.
They are they are
Exactly.
setting their mind free and making their mind empty. But guys, let me talk to us. You know how it is now. Mm. Mm. You're not saying anything. Mm. You're bottling it up.
Yeah.
Are you not gonna say anything?
But there you go.
So all of that we do even have it has some health implication. It's not good
Very
even
true.
for our health. So this is one lady who is opening our eyes so that we can stay here. Because like I said before, it seems there is something out there killing men. We need to be here until we are 90, 100. We need to be here until we see our children, our children's children. All right. And this is the way
Absolutely.
to it. And there's something else you say that I love. Women always go to the hospital for checkup. And just did you notice that there are hospitals built for women? I pastored in
Women,
Nigeria, and in the city that I
exactly.
pastored, there is a hospital called Women and Children Hospital. So,
There are
and
so
all
many of
over the
them.
world,
Yeah.
all over the
There
world,
are
there are hospitals built for women. But you
for women
see,
and
the suffering that we suffer, I don't
yeah.
think there is a hospital built for men.
There's none.
and,
There's none.
and men
And
have,
see, and there are doctors who train on treating women and children specifically. What about
you
men's
see,
health? It's almost as if
God bless you.
it's part of what I would have said in the endangered species thing. A man is made to feel like he's in charge, but he's really not cared for. And he has been
Mm,
told that, I mean, you don't matter, but he takes it to mean empowerment. It's a lie. What about men's health? How can men prevent prostrate, heart attack, depression, suicide? Nobody wants to talk about it. When you talk about
mm,
it, they will ask you, forget that thing and let's focus on women. It's the agenda from here. So we celebrate
wow,
widowhood. We celebrate widowhood with pride, like men are supposed to just die. It's sad. But
it
I
is.
have had all kinds of people ask me, from all the big international organizations, this, your voice is too loud. Come and explain to us this thing you're doing. So we'll get there. I know that platforms are coming. So we need to
Yes.
rejig a lot of things. Yeah. For me, that's the gospel. That we need to take to the ends of the earth. Devil has wrought a lot of havoc in the life of men. It's time to snatch them back from that evil and let them live longer, fulfilled, live like human beings, and be catered for as well.
My sister, we have been on for almost 1 hour, and
Like,
you a married woman. I have to be respectful of that. I have to be respectful of my brother. I have to
thank
be
you. My husband
respectful
is
of
here.
making sure that I
He's sending
release
his
his
regards.
wife to him on time, because I mean, I'm a man, and sometimes there are agendas in our heart as men. So I don't want to come into the agenda in his heart as a man. So I'm going to release his wife for him on time. And I want you to use the remaining 4 minutes we have. So if I ask you to give a solid advice to men, what would that advice be? If we are to talk to men all over the world
Okay.
and tell them this is the secret, the code that you guys can rely on, and you will live a long, satisfactory life, long, successful. What do you want as a man? You want to succeed financially. You want to achieve a lot of things. You want to fulfill your dream. You want to be happy. You want a happy home. This is it. This is what you need to know. This is what you need to do. And you will hit all those targets that you have in your mind to hit as a man. The targets that are killing you. You wake up every day killing yourself trying to achieve these things, but that which can help you achieve it, you're not even paying attention to it. So what is that one solid advice that I don't want us to miss it? I want every man out there to listen very closely to you now, because you are giving us a secret code that will help our life forever. Go ahead.
Awesome. So you're a man. You are absolutely absent in your domain. Have you ever wondered why there is no man anywhere like you? Until you grow old and leave this earth, there's no ever going to be any man that is you. So if you keep denying yourself your authenticity, if you refuse to understand that you are a legacy on your own, you are an ideology, that who you are is totally important for the world that we are in, you will let the world miss out on the awesomeness that you carry, just because you were told a certain bunch of rules and regulations. Who you are, what you want, what you feel is authentic. What you feel like cooking now is fine. That is not late, is not anti-men. If you want to make so much money, it is valid. If you don't want to work for anyone, you want to work from home, it's valid. And I will advise you to go to the themencode.xyz, pick up the book. By the time you're done reading, a few things will escape. Some things that have held you down, it will lift off. You feel a lifting. You will feel lighter, and then you are able to pursue. And you can get my contact from that book. That's the only place I guarantee that you can reach me directly, so that we can talk further. Because there are certain things that you were told that are like, and you even know. The only thing is that you don't know how to get out of it. You've seen men go through that cycle and die and go, and you have even queued up that, oh, when it's time, I'll go now and go and rest. No, you can live your best life, and who you are matter to the world. You're not a mistake. You're not a mistake. You matter more than everything you have ever thought comes before you. And the truth is, God is depending on you, not any man next to you, not a woman close to you. You to bet his agenda. The who you are is, you don't have to become anybody or try to follow anybody. You can be inspired by people, but be you. There are people who will never come into their own destiny until you manifest. Manifestation doesn't mean you doing something out of the world. It means you, first of all, accepting who you are. Be true to yourself. Say your truth. Say your truth. Say it. Anybody who doesn't like it can go and rest. You will find people who will support you where you are, and you make your growth process consistent. You grow. Each of us are a bundle of talent, a bundle of ideas, a bundle of spiritual empowerment. If you don't tap into who you are, you will never uncover your own. And it's a journey. You can never begin that journey until you first of all say, I accept myself the way I am. God can't even find you, because you can't be holy and unholy in some circles, and be a Rastafarian in some circles, and then be you can't be all of those things. Even your personal angel can't help you. And if you don't believe in Christianity, the universe cannot help you. Where you cannot be found, you can't be congruent. So who you are is important to the world. Find yourself where you are. Forgive yourself. Give the gift of forgiveness for the things you think you have done that you don't know yet. If you don't know what I've done, forgive yourself, because there is a God who knew you before you did them, who already forgave you. So you're carrying unnecessary burden. And if women are the problem, where you for where you are. Forgive women as well and live your best life. You don't have to die like the millions of men dropping dead every minute. My heart goes out for men. As we speak, some men are dead for reasons that they could have prevented, either because either by not, it's possible that maybe they didn't need to bring in a particular woman into their home. Maybe they would have lived longer. For some men, it might also be that they didn't need to embark on a particular journey just to make some kind of money promised them by somebody. For some, it might be other things. Avoidable death, you can avoid them and live your best life. God wants you here, and that's why you're still here. So get on there and be amazing. The website is themencode.xyz, or you can just go to www.jennychisom.com and you can get my contact, and I am rooting for you. Go and win.
Oh, man, this is a good point to say loud, amen. And you listen, you just made me like feel like preaching now. You know, this is the point that everybody just stand up in the church and say, yes, preach it, sister, preach on. That's exactly how I felt with that wisdom that was flowing out from you. Listen, I honor you. I thank you for the time you spent with us today. And
Thank you so much.
most
Thank you for the time.
importantly, I appreciate my brother, your husband, for sharing you with people, sharing you with the world, right? And I love to be that kind of man, and I love men who are like that. Some men, marry talented, blessed, gifted women and just suppress them. But I'm so happy that my brother is not like that. He's someone that is willing to share and tell the wife, go out there, help these people. We need help. I'm supporting you. And I like his point of view. When I watch you guys' video, the video that two of you do together, and I watch it, I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, correct. I say, listen, I'm gonna look for something. I don't know if his own is natural or what, but I'm gonna look for something to have a design like this and also look as handsome as he looks, and make part of my hair white. I'm like, oh my God, where did you get this very handsome man? Just tell him that we honor him, we thank him for his willingness to share you with the world, and we thank you so much for the wisdom that you shared today. Honestly, I pray that whenever I come knocking, I'm able to also get you, because there are areas that we didn't even get to, especially the area of heartbreak. But we're not going to get into it now. Women cry a lot about heartbreak, but boy, when men go through heartbreak, oh hallelujah, it is almost irreversible. It is something you don't want to experience. So the area of heartbreak and some other areas, how do we help men with those areas? So I really desire that when next I come calling, you'll be willing and ready to also share with us. But you've really blessed us today. You've blessed me as a person, and I believe that all our viewers have the same opinion, that they have really been blessed. Thank you so very much. Do you have a prayer in your heart that you pray for men? A short, simple prayer that you want to really pray for all of us guys right now. I want you to just take your liberty and pray that simple prayer for guys.
In the mighty name of Jesus.
Amen.
Father, we are here, we are speaking to what you have imbued in our hearts. We know your agenda for the now is what we are speaking about. And I pray for every man watching me right now, that your peace that passeth all understanding will be their portion, that they will experience what it means to be loved for the first time in their life, that they will experience real love that only you can give, a love that removes burdens, a love that removes cares, a love that empowers, and a love that connects them to divinity. This I pray, oh God, that your eyes of your understanding be opened from this day forward, that they shall not be moved or tossed to and fro anymore, that their life will make meaning to themselves first and then to everybody around them, that which you have called them to do, they will fulfill. In the mighty name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, with that prayer, we bring this production to an end. Listen to me, guys. Listen, if you are a guy, go back and start from beginning, please. John Toriolo, I'm begging you, Biko, go back and start from beginning. If you are a woman and you have men in your life, be it your father, be it your brother, be it your son, be it your husband, if you have men in your life, for their sakes, go back and listen to this video from the beginning. All right, sit down, call all your brothers. Hey, that Ada, Call your brothers together, sit them down in the sitting room, put this on the television, and have all of them to watch this conversation. Whatever you can do to help spread this vision and this passion that God has given to my sister, please let's do it. This is not just what she wants to do, this is a divine assignment. And my sister, I can tell you prophetically, I can enter my office as a man of God and as a prophet and declare to you prophetically that God will open platforms. Oh, Shadabaya.
Amen.
He will open platforms. I mean, you will be there where when you say one thing, immediately the whole world will hear it. I don't know what that place
Amen.
is. If it likes, let it
Amen.
be CNN. If it likes, let it be BBC. Whatever that platform is that will enable you to say something and instantly it gets all over the world because you have
Amen.
a message. You have a
Amen.
message. God has given you a message. And I am prophesying that the same God who gave you this message will give you a voice. And the same God
Amen.
who gave you this message will make your voice enter nations in the name of Jesus Christ. I really do appreciate your time
Amen.
together.
Amen.
And with that prayer, with that
Thank
prophecy, it brings us to the end of this program until we come your way again. Oh, on Friday with Pastor Mrs. Okoye, this woman of God. Oh my goodness, we'll be talking about ministry and passion. So don't miss Friday production with Pastor Mrs. Ebele Okoye. It's going to be very intense. It's going to be very powerful. So until we come your way on Friday, continue to enjoy the love of God. Love you so much. Have a good one and bye bye now.